This episode is brought to you by the Boneyard Huskies Club. The Boneyard Huskies Club empowers UConn student athletes while providing UConn fans with access to exclusive community, utility, and rewards. Purchase of collectibles featuring your favorite student athletes directly supports the athletes since they receive a majority of the revenue. For more information, go to boneyardhuskiesclub.com. That's Huskies with a YZ at the end. All right, joining me today, we've got I think one of everyone's favorite players this year from the UConn roster. It's Lopez Sénéchal. So Lou, welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I want to start by kind of looking way back with you here. So I know you've spent a lot of time here in Connecticut, both at Fairfield and then at UConn for the year. Take me through the decision to come to the U.S. to play college basketball and what that was like for you.
Yeah, it was definitely an exciting process. I grew up in France, but I always wanted to leave France at some point, either for studying or for basketball. So it was always my goal to just, get in a new country. And I think that starting the process of going first in Ireland to play basketball, and then that led to, getting in contact with schools in America. I feel like it was very exciting to know that it was a reachable goal, to get college here. And, as it went on and, I started having more offers and contact with schools, it was more motivating to get here, but definitely an exciting and long process, I would say.
I know you had an outstanding career at Fairfield there. How tough was it to move on from Fairfield and go to UConn? And what was that process like for you in terms of, making the decision to transfer and then ultimately deciding to end up at UConn?
Yeah, I definitely had great 4 years at Fairfield, not just basketball-wise, but I created great relationship, met a lot of people. And just in general, my 4 years there were really good. I enjoyed them a lot. And the only reason I wanted to transfer is because I felt the closure with Fairfield. It was the year where my coach was retiring.
Yeah.
Won a conference championship. I just had graduated. So it felt right to use that last year to get somewhere else and, somewhere that could help me reach my higher goals, which is to play professional. So I knew by going to a bigger school, it could help me get there. And when UConn reached out, which was definitely unexpected, I felt that, I was doing the right thing, taking the right steps. And then I feel like the transition to UConn went pretty smooth, even though it was a pretty big jump, going from a mid school to, I would say, the best school in the country. And I knew that being there for only 1 year, I had to, get adapted and get used to the program pretty quick if I wanted to have an impact. But I try not to put pressure on myself. I really try to let things go with flow. I knew I had the right support. I knew, if I was there, if it was for a reason, they picked me for a reason. So I definitely had the help from, my teammates, the coaches who believed in me. So it made me more confident, once I stepped on the court. And after that, I was just trying, to have fun too. I knew it was my last year of college, so I didn't want to take anything for granted and really wanted to leave everything on the court. But I can only think of good thing when I think of my last 5 years in college, and being lucky enough to have been in 2 different schools.
You talk about making that jump a little bit from Fairfield to UConn. What was the biggest adjustment you felt like you had to make to your game to continue the success you had at Fairfield at UConn?
I think the intensity, the pace of the game was definitely faster. Everything was just moving faster in general. Defensively, playing more man defense, just really moving way more, which I think that Fairfield prepared me well because I was put in a situation where, they were looking for me to score a lot. So I was used to running a lot. And I think that some of those things I use at UConn, but I think just learning wise also, the more terminology that professional use and some aspect that I can see now in the league. But I think just the transition of learning a lot in just one year, not even 1 year, only a couple months, but I think the pace was definitely something that I saw right away when especially when we play the biggest schools in the country. The schedule was very tough, so I was putting it right away, and at least it gave me a good image of everything.
I know I remember reading an athletic piece that came out on you, and it talked how you weren't quite sure what your role might be heading into UConn. You weren't sure if maybe you'd only be playing 10 or 15 minutes. I mean, ultimately, we saw the role that you ended up playing. What was it like going into a situation where you weren't necessarily sure what your role might be, and then adjusting, to being a key contributor to this team this year?
I actually felt like it was, I feel like a certain type of relief that, I was maybe going somewhere without so much pressure. I just felt like I didn't want to try to overthink anything. I was already very fortunate to be in the situation, to be in one of the best school, and I knew I would have very talented players to play with. So I was just really trying to get there and accept any role that I would have. I felt just that I was in the right position, and I really didn't want to think too much about it. And I think that I just wanted to do the right things, learn a lot, develop my game, get better every day, and really use that platform to help me elevate with my game, and just because of being in a higher level. And I think that it actually felt pretty good, to also go somewhere where, maybe the situation was going to be a little bit different than my last 4 years. Mm-hmm. And eventually ended up being a pretty similar situation in terms of playing time and all that, which I think my experience at Fairfield helped me with that. But, I'm always someone who adapts to things pretty easily. And I think that mentally I was just in the right situation, in a good place. I was happy where I was. So I think that was enough for me to, just get there and do whatever I could do to help the team.
So I've got to ask it, as we've been talking about adjusting to life at UConn, trying to figure out your role. I've heard some good practice stories of how tough and how competitive your practices are. What was your first UConn practice like?
Well, for me, I really remember the first time I played pickup with the team. So that was after I committed. Okay. It was before summer school started, and I just went to play pickup with them, and the pickup was almost like a game. It was very competitive on both sides. We were playing against each other. Usually we play more during the season against practice players, but it was actually very intense. I feel like I was sometimes more used to a pickup where it's fun and you run around, but that was actually intense. And everyone wanted to win, and everyone was actually playing hard, and I was like, all right, like this is cool, like it's actually prepares you well, and it's fun at the same time. And I think that I was fortunate to play with Paige for a couple months before she got injured, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But those pickup, just being on the court with them, it really gave me the idea of what team they were and what they were expecting of themselves. And I think that was already great to just have a preview of what could be, the workouts afterwards. And I was maybe mentally a little bit more prepared. But I think just the competitiveness among each player, especially some of them that are way more competitive than others. But I think it was really cool to see the environment and just a winning environment in general.
Who was the toughest matchup in these pickup games?
I would let you guess, but yeah, definitely, Paige, Nika, they're very competitive for sure. Everyone is, but Nika definitely had, her own way of seeing things, and but it's always good to be teammate with her.
I think if we had put that to a Twitter poll question, I think Nika probably would have come out on top there. So I think you just reassured what everyone's been thinking. As the season's going on, clearly a number of ups and downs throughout the season. What was it just like for you going through this season in all of the kind of trials and tribulations, but also the successes you all had throughout this year?
It was tough. I mean, I can't lie. It was probably for me one of the toughest year of, like, in terms of basketball, even though I wasn't the one necessarily, injured until maybe, the last couple months, but just seeing our situation and for me getting in the team where I knew that the past year was already tough, they went through already injuries, COVID, and seeing them kind of like going through it again and realizing that it was happening again, it made me feel some type of way, because it's almost like they felt like this year was going to be different, and then they saw that it was almost even worse, with injuries. And I think that I tried to still, be the best contributor that I could be for the team, as long as I was healthy and whoever was healthy. And I think that, I knew I was there only for a year. So I really had to give everything I could during that year, even with all the injuries. And, for me, I felt very fortunate, in that something Paige told us a couple of times, that I was actually able to be on the court, and for those who couldn't be on the court and were still with us, supporting us all the time, that's the hardest part. And I think that seeing it that way, from that perspective, I just tried to, find more beauty in the struggle, even though it was really not easy every day to go through that, to have practices with 6 players, to have games with 7 players where, a freshman has to start the game and still play really well. So I think having to adjust to all the situation and really adapt to every literal possible situation that you could think, it really made us stronger. And, we didn't make the run that we wanted. We didn't end up where we wanted to be, but I think we were all very proud, and I was still very proud of what we accomplished regarding, the year we had. And I think for me, just being part of that team, even though it was very tough and, we wished it would have gone in a different way, I think I still, remember just positive things. And I tried to, kind of get rid of the negative things. And I think that's just being together and being in the same situation every day. Just we had each other, that's kind of like the only thing we had. And that's definitely helping.
One thing that stood out to me in what you were just saying was what Paige had said to you about just being on the court and taking some joy in that. I think we've seen what she can do when she's on the court, but being a teammate of hers this year when she wasn't able to play, I mean, we were able to see, I think, bits and pieces of the leadership she still provides while not being on the court. But what was it like being a teammate of hers in what she provided to you and the team off the court, not being able to play there?
Yeah, Paige is definitely a great leader. On and off the court, I think she's a leader by example, for sure. But I think that this year allowed her to have a different role, being closer to the players from another perspective. And even though I was only there for a few months, I feel like Paige and I are similar in some aspects, of just how you see the game and how, you love the game, the competitive, and all those aspects. And I think that she was really a support for everyone, and also all the other ones that were injured, but especially her. Just I know, she helped Nika a lot, for being the point guard, but I think she was probably in the toughest situation, being able to play 1 full year of college in your 3 years is not something you wish for. But I think she took it the right way by, accepting it and still, try to have an impact on the team, which she really did. And I remember, I had a good start of the season, and at some point I had that one game, where everything fell off, and it was just not going the right way, was not making any shot, and we still won, and I was still very happy about the win, because for me the team always goes first. But and Paige was actually, the first one to reach out after that and saying, I know how you're feeling right now, and it's okay, but she just started talking to me and saying how sometimes she has felt, in some games where she felt like that, but she was just trying, to be there for me, motivate me. And she knew that it was not always easy to get in a team like that, where everything is new and you have to adjust super quick. But she, found the right words and the right way to cheer me up and really, motivate me to do something good for the team. And I think that just show how great of a leader she is, and how, she can really have an impact off the court, and very soon it's going to have again an impact on the court. And I'm just, even though we didn't play during the season together, we told each other we will, in the future for sure. We believe that it will happen, but I'm just super excited for her to be able to hoop again.
I've got to ask, because I know Coach Auriemma called it out a couple of times throughout the year, and that was the physicality in which you were guarded. Now that you're done with college, you're done with college officiating, I feel like you could open up maybe a little bit here. How tough was it from your perspective in terms of, just night in and night out and kind of getting beat up there?
It was tough. I mean, I think that it didn't start at UConn. I think that my years at Fairfield, I started also being guarded like that. Defenders were being very, very physical with me, and there's a lot of frustration at first, but I think my last 2 years at Fairfield helped me grow in the aspect of controlling my emotion. I'm a very emotional player, and I think I gained maturity in that, of just accepting, that physicality. And that's, again, one thing that Paige told me, is that kind of like seeing it as, a positive thing, that you're being guarded like that for a reason. And it's kind of like, see, like, people are guarding you like that because you can do good things. And, I try just to take it. And obviously it's not easy mentally and physically, you get exhausted at sometimes, but I feel like being mentally there, being mentally strong with that, and just, pushing through, and just trying to, no matter the physicality, no matter if you feel like it's a foul, not a foul, and then you complain to the ref, sometimes those things don't help you, it's not really going to change. So I think I just try to, forget all that and just try to do my best, even, going through that physicality and getting hit a little bit everywhere. But I think it's part of the game sometimes, and I think that's how also you get stronger in the game.
Yeah, credit to you for how you dealt with that, because I know that had to be a tough situation. I'm going to take a quick break from the interview to tell you about my friends at Martin Rosol's Meats. This fourth-generation Connecticut family business produces kielbasa, hot dogs, sausages, and deli meats using Martin Rosol's very own original recipes. Their products can be found in grocery stores, delis, restaurants, and hot dog stands throughout the state. And if you're looking for your fill right away, check out their retail store in New Britain. For more information, visit martinroselsinc.com and go support a UConn fan-owned business. And now, back to the interview. I had a few just fun ones here to wrap the UConn talk, and then we'll talk what's up with you now. So we'll start with this. I love getting to know a little bit more about your experience with the team. So who was the funniest teammate that you had at UConn this year?
Funniest teammate? A lot of them are funny. Everyone is pretty funny in their own way. Inesh is definitely funny. Inesh is I had, everyone loved Inesh. Just, she's the younger one, and it's kind of like we all protect her, but we all mess with her too. And I think that she got very comfortable with him very fast. So I think Inesh, Amari obviously, is the one always trying to make everyone laugh. So yeah, I would go with them. I think, but, everyone is pretty funny, I would say.
Good choices there. I know the season can just be a grind. Outside of basketball, what did you all like to do for fun as a group? I know you guys are a really tight-knit bunch. So what was it like outside of basketball that you all would do for fun?
Yeah, I feel like being at UConn for 1 year, I learned that, stores is not the place where there's the most things to do, that's for sure. But it was good to have each other. And that's, I think, a big thing. We all live in the same apartments. So we had, movie nights. We go to the movies. We went to Hibachi many times. During the summer, it's actually the best times. It's hot outside. We went to the lake, which is very close to the school many times. We knew someone who had like a boat, so we would have a lot of days like that. And obviously the whole season is full of travel. We're not at home a lot.
Yeah.
But I think just being with each other and even in the apartments, hanging out with each other for us was a big thing. And it's something that just those little things, going
Hmm.
to dinner or just watching a movie, just talking. I feel like it's always the best things in college. And just I feel like everyone had a good chemistry with each other, no matter who they were. So yeah.
All right, you mentioned hibachi. I noticed during one of the men's games they mentioned Adama Sanogo, a big hibachi guy. Did you ever get hibachi with Adama Sanogo? Because I think that would blow up UConn Twitter there.
I did not. I did not.
Okay.
I didn't really know. But definitely would have maybe if I
All
knew
right,
it.
we got to bring you guys back to stores. We'll do some hibachi there. You guys can speak French, right? I know he speaks French
Yeah,
too,
yeah, yeah.
so
Every time I saw him, I would speak French to him. So
very
that's
cool. Um, you mentioned earlier how tough the schedule was this year. And one of my favorite things about college basketball is how cool the environments are. Where was the toughest place on the road that you guys played this year?
toughest place on the road. Trying to think. Oh boy, there's just so many. Almost blacking out of just thinking like all the places we went to. I think I remember it was just a very weird hotel where we stayed. I think for the um was it the Butler game?
Okay.
Or yeah, I think I don't remember exactly where, but we stayed in a hotel that we heard that was haunted and more like old. So I
Yeah,
think it was really weird to be there. And but I feel like for me, I was only there for a year, so every places I went to was pretty new. So
yeah,
I think that I also, first time I was flying with, charter flight. So I think for me, the whole experience and just being there for a year, if I was there for 4 years, maybe, it would have been different. But
yeah,
I was thinking like, it's fun to go to those new places.
for sure. So the season ends. I know that the draft process all comes up pretty quickly. What was it like for you, wrapping up school at UConn, wrapping up the season, and then getting ready to head into the draft?
Yeah, it was a lot. I've heard of it, how like, it goes from one thing to another and you have to move on pretty quick. It was pretty tough for me because we just had lost
Yeah.
the Sweet 16 and we still had to go through the end of the NCAA tournament season, so seeing the games and all that. It took me a long time to accept the fact that we weren't there anymore until maybe the end of the NCAA tournament or after that. But it was a big time where I was deciding my agent and talking to different people, talking to different teams in the league and just really trying to you didn't have any choice. You had to move on pretty quick, and just trying to think of the next step right away. But it was also exciting. I knew that the next chapter was coming very soon, so I think it also helped me to move on from how the season ended. um and going through that with Dorka, who also was
Yeah.
gonna get drafted. It was really exciting. I always remember the day that I got called to get invited at the draft. She found about it, I think, the next day, and, she came running in my room, and, we're just super excited to be able to go there together. But I think it was also a fun process, then being invited at the draft, going there, and then kind of thinking of the next step, was really exciting. It was just also tough with my situation with my knee, having to do that. So it was a lot of mixed, feelings and emotions, but, it ended up being, for the good.
I know it's probably hard with the injury that you've had, but how's the transition been for you, and just kind of getting adjusted to life as a pro now?
It's actually been good. It's different, new state, new place. I love traveling, so I don't mind being in a new place. It's always exciting, but it's been good. It's definitely for me a new perspective. And now I understand more the people who have been, on the sideline most of the year. Learning and having to be on the sideline, not doing much, is sometimes frustrating. But in my position, I had to go through training camp without playing, so I still, had to learn a lot. Somehow earn my spot by any way I could, and I think that, still the Dallas team picking me, even though I was injured, kind of show how, they saw me, and I think that motivated me to do the best I could to be a good teammate. And I think I really liked everyone here right away. So it helped me to, go through that transition, living by yourself. There's a lot of things that you're not really used to, but I feel like if you try to see as a positive thing, and, and being fortunate to be here, being in the present, the fact that I'm here right now, and this is my job, that I'm going to be able to play basketball again very soon as my job, is just something I remind myself every day to really stay in the moment and, enjoy the whole process.
That's great. I know everyone's going to be curious to know what this one is like, but Maddie was one of your rivals during the season. What's it like getting to be a teammate now?
It's really cool. I wasn't, I didn't have any doubt, about that. I knew that we were going to get along. She's a very nice person. So, it was, I always heard everyone, from enemies to, teammates. And I think it's just really cool how, everything, it's a small word. So, you can be, competitors one day and become teammates the next day. And that's something that happens here in the league a lot. So I think it's pretty exciting to, have come from two different teams that are in the same conference and then end up being teammates here. And very happy for her right now. She's definitely been doing good. She's stepping up a little bit more every game and, trying to have an impact. So definitely, supporting her and happy for her.
I'll wrap with this one. I know the season is still recently over, but I know everyone's already looking forward to next year. From being around the team this year, who of the younger players are you most excited to see make that jump on the UConn team next year?
In the next season?
Yeah.
Any player or just?
Yeah. You give me anyone.
I mean, all of them. They just did so much that I just, I want UConn to have a full healthy season. I know that if they do, I truly believe that they can just win it all. I feel like it's that simple. They're gonna be very good no matter what. I mean, I'm super excited for Paige. Obviously, I know how hard she's working, so it's gonna be very deserving. Same for AZ, in the last 2 years, it's always also been, a lot of like a roller coaster. So I want her to have a healthy season. I know that, when she's 100%, she's, one of the best players in the country. So, and yeah, the freshman class is looking good. So excited for them. I can end up saying the whole team,
All right. Well, I think you're going to get everyone really excited for the team next year. So nicely done there.
It's going to be good. Gonna be very good.
Well, Lou, I really appreciate the time. I know it's a busy time for you making that adjustment here to the pros, but I know everyone back here in Connecticut's rooting you on and looking forward to seeing you back on the court soon. So thanks so much for coming on today.
Of course, thanks for having me, and much love for the UConn family and UConn fans. So hopefully one day I'll be at a game again.
Yeah, we want to see you back out at Gamble soon.
All right. Well, thank you so much.